Okay, so imagine this. Summer in Kyoto.
Hmm.
The air's thick, right? Humid. And it's buzzing, not just with heat, but like the energy of the Gion Matsuri festival kicking off.
Mm-hmm. Lanterns going up, streets getting busy.
Yeah, all that anticipation. But underneath all that, the cultural stuff,
Yeah.
apparently there's some real danger.
Okay.
Now, picture you landing right in the middle of that.
Yeah.
But you're not sightseeing. Oh, no. You're a thief. Just starting out. A fledgling thief.
Right. Inexperienced.
And you've got this big job, a heist, for some kind of shadowy international group.
An international syndicate, the blurb says.
Exactly. And here's the really cool part, the hook. Every move you make, every snap decision under pressure, it doesn't just push the story along, it actually, reshapes it.
Changes the whole thing.
Yeah, sends you down potentially totally different paths. We're talking like dozens of different endings.
Wow. That setup really pulls you in. Makes it sound intensely personal. Your job, your adventure in this really specific atmospheric place.
Totally. Sets the bar pretty high for player agency, right?
Yep, definitely.
And that whole scenario, that's the launch pad for the summer job. It's the very first game book, using this thing called the break system. Derek Schraner created it.
The break system. Okay.
So for this deep dive, we've gathered the intel, we've got the back cover description, the author's intro, even some snippets from the actual game text, intriguing ones, plus details on the extras in the book.
Mm-hmm. Appendices and stuff.
Our mission today is pretty straightforward. For you listening, maybe thinking about grabbing this book, we want to give you a clear, spoiler-free look at what it is.
How it plays, what kind of vibe you're getting into.
Exactly. Think of it like we're doing the initial recon on the book for you.
Right. We'll highlight the key bits the sources push, show you how it's supposed to work based on what the author and publisher say, without ruining any surprises.
We're your intelligence briefers on this one.
Okay, let's do it.
So let's kick things off with the basics. What is the summer job, according to the sources we have?
Well, at its heart, they call it an interactive crime story. The big promise right up front is that your choices matter, like really matter.
Not just window dressing.
No. They shape the mission as it happens. The plot actually evolves depending on what you decide to do.
And that evolution seems really tied to the setting. They keep hammering that point, Kyoto, during the Gion Matsuri.
Yeah, the blurb even says the city is alive with danger. So it's not just pretty scenery.
Sounds like the festival buzz, the heat, the specific places.
Yeah.
They're all part of the actual challenges, maybe opportunities too.
Seems that way. And your role is crystal clear from page 1. You're the fledgling thief, newbie, taking on a heist for this international syndicate.
And it's framed as your story. Puts you right in the protagonist's shoes immediately.
Definitely. The sources also mention this break system again. They don't get super technical about the mechanics, though.
No, just that it's accessible, fun, and full of surprises.
Which sounds good. The name break, maybe it implies, breaking away from old gamebook styles, or maybe just a system designed for unexpected stuff to happen.
Could be. And the focus on choice is huge. The blurb spells it out. Every decision made affects the world, your path, and the end.
Right. That commitment to consequence is key.
And it leads straight to that big promise. Dozens of different stories are waiting for you. That screams replayability, variety.
Yeah, it's not about finding the one right way through. It sounds more like exploring this whole network of possibilities. Knowing any choice could send you somewhere completely unexpected.
Okay, so we get what it is.
Yeah.
Now, how do you actually play this thing? How do you navigate this story?
The introduction lays out the basic mechanism. It's, classic gamebook stuff, but presented in a way that really emphasizes the exploring part.
Right, you start reading at section 0. Sets the scene.
Mm-hmm. And then at the end of each little section, you get instructions. Sometimes it's direct, like go to 7. The story just flows on.
Predictable path.
But often you get a choice. Something like, what now? Option A, go to X, or option B, go to Y. And you turn to that section.
And you just keep doing that. Yeah. Following the numbers, turning pages, making choices until you hit an ending.
Pretty much. And the intro makes a really important point. You can reach various possible endings. Lots of them.
And crucially, they say not every ending is bad.
Right. It's not just about winning or surviving necessarily. Even paths that seem like the main one or the most obvious choice could lead to unexpected outcomes.
It sounds like the story isn't afraid to just swerve.
Which is great because it encourages you to experiment, right? If you
Yeah.
finish, or maybe you just don't like the ending you got.
You can just go back?
Yeah, the book basically tells you to. Go back to your last big choice, see what happens if you pick the other thing, or just start fresh, try a whole different approach.
I like that philosophy. The intro sums it up nicely. There are no wrong choices, just different stories. The journey is yours to experience.
And the adventure is up to you.
Yeah.
It reframes the whole win-lose idea. It's about the journey, the exploration.
And they sign off with a little happy heisting.
Playful.
Yeah.
So what does that journey actually feel like? The snippets you mentioned, what do they tell us?
Oh, they give a great sense of the experience. The writing, based on these bits, uses really rich sensory details for Kyoto. Smell of coffee, sounds of the city, the heat.
Cicadas buzzing, temple bells.
Yeah, specific colors, smells of different areas. There's this feeling described as sensory overload sometimes. It balances the lush, humid, and hypnotizing morning air with the gritty reality of the city streets in summer.
And the festival, the Gion Matsuri, it's woven in everywhere, not just wallpaper. It sounds like the setting is something you really feel.
Totally. And as you're moving through this world, you meet people, characters.
Some are obviously part of the syndicate, right? You mentioned Retlaw, Madam.
Yeah, Redlaw seems like your guide, maybe
Yeah.
through an earpiece. And Madam, she has a base called the Hangar, apparently.
But you meet others, too.
Yeah, the snippets hint at encounters with, like a challenging person in a cafe, maybe someone quiet, employees at places you need to get into, just random people on the street.
So the world feels populated and reactive.
It seems like it. Your interactions, planned or not, can be tense, maybe a bit weird. They seem to lead to surprising results sometimes.
Okay. And locations. You mentioned some specific places.
Definitely. Joe's Coffee comes up, seems like an early hub. There's a storage place called Supisu, Madam's hangar base. Even the Kyoto International Community House Kokoka and its library.
Interesting. Plus just navigating the city itself. Driving, walking.
Yeah, driving through different wards. Fushimi's mentioned walking past landmarks near Kyoto Tower. That seems part of the core gameplay loop.
And the heart of it all is the heist, right? The job.
The job, or the mission, yeah. It involves classic stuff.
Right.
Recon, scouting places out, interacting with contacts, Retlaw on the earpiece, Madam in person.
And dealing with security. Cameras, maybe locks.
Sources mention surveillance cameras. Twists seem guaranteed. The sources mention dealing with rivals, or maybe insiders who could mess things up.
The unexpected complications. Always good in a heist story.
There's definitely this underlying tension, like things could go wrong any second.
You mentioned an earpiece, a specific tool.
Yeah, a brooch earpiece.
Yeah.
For communication, guidance from Retlaw mainly.
Yeah.
But even that might not be totally reliable. One snippet suggests it cuts out inside buildings, like storage units.
Oh, interesting. Unreliable tech adds another layer of potential problems.
For sure, and that ties right into the unexpected is waiting promise from the blurb. The text excerpts really lean into that.
How so?
We get glimpses of weird behavior from NPCs, hints of traps. There's a mention of an Ashidaka Gumo device.
Yeah.
Sounds like some kind of mechanism. Who knows? Encounters might end suddenly, dangerously. One bit even mentions just like stubbing your foot on a crate and how that tiny thing affects your options.
Huh. Even minor injuries matter.
And unexpected people showing up seems common.
Which sounds fun, actually. Keeps you on your toes.
Mm.
Now, beyond the main story, you said there's extra content, appendices.
Yeah, a few things that add value, especially if you're considering buying it.
What kind of things?
First off, the intro makes it clear this isn't just a standalone, it's the first in a trilogy.
Oh, okay. So there's a bigger picture.
Yeah, and apparently at least one path connects to an ongoing narrative. One ending specifically teases Retlaw will return in the fall affair, so sequel potential is built in.
Good to know if you get invested in the world. What else is in the back?
There's a vocabulary scavenger hunt. Lists Japanese words used in the story, like shugo for noon, sudoreji for storage, karakuri for puzzle box.
Oh, cool. Adds flavor, maybe a little learning challenge.
Then there's this thing called Happy End of the World Bingo, and this really shows the variety.
Bingo. For endings.
Yeah. It lists 45 possible endings. 45.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot. What kind of endings are we talking?
Everything from expected stuff like job canceled or released to completely wild outcomes like food poisoned, won the lottery, fell in love at first sight,
Wait, fell in love. Okay.
crushed under 16 tons, or even returned to the cosmos.
Return to the, okay. That range is huge. It really drives home that different stories idea, doesn't it? Not just success or failure.
Exactly. It covers success, romance, absurd failure, dark comedy. the whole spectrum.
Very telling about the design philosophy. What else?
There's also Retlaw's race car minigame, described as a simple, separate game inside the book. Uses dice and a grid.
A little bonus game.
Yeah, and apparently the rules are scattered across different ending sections. Clever way to make you hunt for them by exploring more paths.
Sneaky. Encourages replayability again.
And finally, a selected music for a summer job. Basically a suggested soundtrack. Lists, specific artists and songs, Fantastic Plastic Machine, Ruchi Sakamoto.
Oh, nice touch. Helps set the mood if you want to go all in on immersion.
Yeah. So bringing this all together,
Yeah.
why does this deep dive matter for you, the potential buyer?
Well, for starters, this game book structure, this break system, sounds great if you want to jump into a scenario and get a feel for it quickly. You learn by doing, by choosing.
Right, not just reading pages as setup. It's active from the get-go.
And the promise of dozens of stories and those 45 endings, that directly feeds that desire for aha moments, for seeing different angles on the same situation.
Discovering how one tiny choice sends you somewhere completely different,
Yeah.
that's the hook. Replaying lets you see all these different perspectives.
And even though there's clearly a lot going on, the section-by-section navigation should keep it manageable, right? Avoids overload.
Yeah, you only deal with the immediate situation, the choice right in front of you.
Yeah.
Breaks the complexity down.
Plus, the style, the vivid descriptions we saw, the direct you address, the conversational tone hinted at, it sounds much more like an engaging story than, say, a dry manual.
Definitely feels like it has personality.
So, summing up, based on everything the sources tell us,
The summer job looks like an interactive heist adventure, set in this really atmospheric Kyoto during the Gion Matsuri festival.
your choices genuinely shape the story, leading to a massive range of outcomes. Success, weird detours, maybe funny or unfortunate ends. That bingo list hints at a lot.
It's presented as accessible, fun, built for exploring and replaying, with cool extras like the vocabulary, the mini game, the soundtrack suggestions.
Nice little package.
So the final thought for you, the listener, is given there are dozens of stories and 45 possible endings, what kind of summer job are you going to have if you decide to jump in?
It really sounds like the journey itself, the unpredictable path through Kyoto, is the main reward. Lots of surprises promised.
Happy heisting.